big welcome to you as we move into Experience 23 of Series 3 in the video series Living Purposefully into Your Very Own Story. And Experience 23 is yet another aspect of how my interweaving stories rub shoulders with mystery as I'm invited to grow into inner freeing and harmony. And a brief reminder of where we've been. All of the videos in Series 3 are about this dialogue where what we experience in invitations through tingles and clangs and inklings and nudges will be our part of the dialogue, with the inner invitations coming from the mystery and more than in our life and living. And last time we mentioned that for most of us, there are other ways, but for mostly it is that discomfort is the first movement to an epic journeying cycle which will move us into being in touch with our best self. And so, on my version of the 6 steps of an epic journeying cycle, this Experience 23 is about setting out. In our summary, epic journeying cycles draw us to be our best self. And staying with our call onwards as we recognise them will have fear first of all and gold kind of as the light at the end of the tunnel, which is what draws us on. And so my summary of where we're up to at this point. There are often inner invitations to embrace a call onwards to be discovered in our senses of inner discomfort. When this is so, it is the first step to beginning a new epic journeying cycle in our lives. So, Experience 23 is about knowing when to move into action. And I'm adding a note. It will take courage to leave an old pattern behind and to embrace a call onwards. The old pattern has gone into automatic autopilot. And the call onwards means like moving something that's comfortable behind and moving into the unknown. And who of us likes moving into the unknown? And so I have a metaphor in lilies for you again. And I'm leaving a little space for you to look at the times when you have actually moved into a new pattern, leaving an older, more comfortable pattern behind. And perhaps these lilies will speak to you about how that was for you. And again, Noel Davis has how we can embrace this stage of epic journeying. And he not only invites us this time to make the spaces, Noel invites us to listen to the spaces and the wisdom that's in this poem. Spaces have their own lives. Let them speak. Listen to them with your eyes in the quiet of your mind. And then he goes on to invite us how to get the benefit out of the pause and the listening. Give them the time they need to tell their stories, for they are the nurseries and pits of life, the fields of strength ready for the harvesting, the cultivators of our bigger minds. And then Noel talks about what we do with them often enough, unless we're aware. We crowd them out to stifle our fears, to douse the pain, refining our humanity. And the wise advice that ends the poem, let them be. Now I'm going to read the poem for you in full. Listen to the spaces. Spaces have their own lives. Let them speak. Listen to them with your eyes in the quiet of your mind. Give them the time they need to tell their stories, for they are the nurseries and pits of life, the fields of strength ready for the harvesting, the cultivators of our bigger minds. We crowd them out to stifle our fears, to douse the pain, refining our humanity. Let them be. So again, I have a list of some of the signs from my point of view and observation and walking journeys with other people, signs of an invitation to embrace the call onwards, which is the beginning of another epic journeying cycle. And it's probably good to remember that an epic journeying cycle, and we're not too far out of the discomfort stage, is leading us to become our best self, and that there will be freedom and harmony at the end. So, what's the sign of this invitation to move forward? A discomfort that is a sense deep in our being. It doesn't go away no matter how much we try to discard it. I've had some people sharing with me, and they've had it there for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 37 years. And at the same time as that discomfort is there, there's a strong sense of conflict in our inner desires. We want this and we want that, and can't have the two together. The inner push to take action is often strong well before the action or the way forward is clear. So I've heard many people say, and it's happened in my life, I need to do this, but I don't quite know where to go. Another aspect of it. There is an inherent fear about embracing this change. That's where it takes the courage. We're comfortable in the old pattern, but the old pattern has lost its benefit for us in its overdrive sense. And the final point that I make is there will be an inner resistance to welcoming a call onwards. Who of us does not resist a change where we don't know the outcome when we move into it? So when do we do it? When an inner and or outside our consciousness stimulus presents itself. In the story that I just told about a dream that someone helped me find the invitation to when I was 44, on a pattern that had started when I was 10, the invitation was to integrate play into my life. Play meaning that I was not responsible, that I didn't have a total sense of responsibility. So it's not only that, it can be losing a job, breakup of a relationship, being ill, many other things, something that someone says to me which rocks our being. And then the old pattern reveals its use-by date more clearly. In my example, the dream revealed to me that responsibility was out of balance, totally responsible instead of appropriately responsible. And the new pattern to be beckons seductively. So yes, there was something nice about playing for me. And eventually, when all these three senses are in place, we get the courage to step out into the unknown territory of the new pattern. And I did that on the day after I had the dream and the dream had been interpreted for me. And it did take courage. It was like jumping over a cliff in my feeling sense. So here is the list I'll leave a little moment for you to read again the 3 senses that are usually there that give us the courage to step into the unknown of a new pattern. So here's my summary of Experience 23. Experience 23 was about the signs of an inner invitation to welcome a call onwards, and about knowing when to move into action. And I'm repeating my note. It takes courage to leave an old pattern behind and to embrace a new pattern which comes out of embracing a call onwards. So I'm inviting you to spend a little time now allowing a time that you moved out of one pattern into another. And as well as naming the pattern, I'm inviting you to name the discomfort of yours that was the first step to a new pattern becoming a reality. So again, we're going to have this little section about allowing our emotional intelligence to impinge on our lives. And the one for today is about getting some inspiration when setting out is the theme of our inner invitation. So again, I invite you to stand, and I'm inviting you to do a few deep, slow breaths. Breathe in deeply. As you're breathing in and it's there, see it circulating through your body, and then breathe out slowly. And do this a few times. And when you've come to an inner quiet, in that inner quiet place, you may choose to release the question, what would I like more of that would be inspiring for me? Energized and focused, say yes to my dreams, inspired by my dreams, free to be who I am, infectious enthusiasm, deep heart knowing, sense of uplifting, I have vision, sense of uplifted, sense of striving, believing in myself, to be visible, living from being, enthusiastic motivation. And if one of these did not have more energy than the others, perhaps use either enthusiastic motivation or energized and focused. And if a different phrase has arisen for you, stay with that. That's what your emotional intelligence is saying to you. And so whichever phrase you have, let it resonate in your being and deepen, and letting the resonating of this phrase in your being come to expression in body movement. And allow that movement to happen so that the phrase and the word become one. And when the phrase and the movement have become one, then exaggerate the movement, so this gives more conscious openness to the movement. Exaggerate the movement using all the space. And when you're ready, come to a pose which expresses the feelings of the movement that also go with the phrase. And now I'm giving you a brief pause to set the phrase and the pose in your sensory memory. And so I invite you that when you are in the stage of setting out and being challenged to move forward with courage, to use this phrase and pose to help you move forward with courage. Or at a time when you felt like the sense within you is that you need to move forward with courage, you could use this list and see what your emotional intelligence is inviting you for inspiration. So where have we been so far in Series 3? Experience 21 was of opening to becoming more aware of who I am in my skin. Experience 22 was of recognising inner invitations to embrace the call onwards. And here, in Experience 23, we were being present to knowing when to move into action. And Experience 24 will name patterns of inner experience when our call onwards has been embraced. And so I thank you for being a part of Experience 23 as we listen more to our emotional intelligence and the wisdom it has to share with us.